everybody. I'm hoping that you're finding your way on here. I wanted to sort of come on and have a quick chat first and just kind of make sure that I can see you all and make sure I can see some comments coming up. So if you come on board right now and you're able to write a comment for me, that would be really good, just so we can all see how this works. It's new for me too, so I'm hoping that we can do it, and I'm hoping that I can still hear you and I can still see your comments. That would be brilliant. So just let me know when you're on board. I'm going to see if I can put a comment on there myself. I'm not working out how to do it yet. Ooh, don't know. Maybe you guys can work it out, hey? Maybe Mark can do it for us.
Too technical.
Too technical for you. Okay, listen guys, either I'm going to see you or I'm not going to see you. Ah, there we go, I can see you. I can see you talking. Hello, my lovely, good. So, we're all on board. I can still see you typing. That's really good. Great. Right, my lovelies, listen, just a very quick conversation again about these lives, just to help you understand. Because of a number of different things, the Mevo that I use, which is my very, very special camera that I use to do all these lives, unfortunately they are unable to work alongside Facebook groups at the moment, and will be not able to work like that for the next kind of few weeks. But as soon as they get them up and going, I will be back to doing lives in the normal way. Hello, Nadia. I thought it was you. So listen guys, if you want to chat to me, Nadia's worked it out. Nadia, can you just type there, my lovely, how you've commented, and then other people perhaps will be able to watch and know how to do it. So anywho, listen, I wanted to come on today. I was just so totally blown away and moved by all of the feedback that came onto the post that I placed yesterday. You know that I love doing these Tuesday talkabouts. I really like giving people the opportunity to talk about things that perhaps we don't normally talk about in day to day. And much as I would love to have those conversations face to face with you, we do have the opportunity to at least have them in an open forum where we can all talk about it. And I was just really moved by everybody's honesty and talking about that. And so I wanted to kind of bear that in mind and bring that into a bit of journaling. And what I'm actually going to do is we're going to do a bit of mixed media work today. I thought that instead of working in my journal, which I always do. Okay, there you go, everybody. So if you're watching now, on the right side of the video, there's a blue line and you type there. That's how you talk to me and that's how I will see you. All right? So perhaps we'll hope that other people will talk too, Nadia. It won't just be me and you chatting away. I would really love to hear from you. Those of you who are finding me on YouTube, my name's Jolene. I'm an art journaling and mixed media artist and psychotherapist. And I use art journaling as a way of processing emotional concepts, but also as a way of just kind of playing with who I am. And I will put the link below to the Facebook page if you want to be part of the community space that I offer on Facebook. But today we're doing a bit of a mixed media piece that is all to do with grief and to do with a little quote that I found, which I think is really beautiful, which said, "As the sun watches, I cry, and the tears that fall in the ground, the sun lifts to the sky." And I thought that was really beautiful. Nadia, I think that you're putting up a description as to how people to comment, so that's really good. Thank you for doing that, my love. So listen, I'm going to do a bit of mixed media work today. I found a box in my cupboard, and I've been rooting around my house and finding all sorts of different bits and pieces that say grief to me. Some of them less obvious than others, and I will talk them through. But I've got all sorts of things. I'm just going to tilt the camera up so that I can show you around the house a little bit, and you can perhaps see what we've got here. You can see over there I've got all my paints, lots and lots of mixed media bits and pieces. This is just to prove that not all art journaling artists live tidily. We really don't. We just only show you what's in front of us. So I've got all my bits and pieces there. Let's just check that that's all logged back on. Yep. Boo! Hello. Hello, Sarah. There you are. You can watch and listen. So these are all my bits and pieces that I'm going to use. I've got lots and lots of bits of paper, etc., etc. And I've got this box. And what I'm going to construct is a piece that for me resembles something to do with grief. And for me, grief is one of those kind of necessary things that we all go through, and it's not just to do with death at all. It's to do with when something ends, and if we don't feel it, I guess we're not really respecting that part of us that was invested in the thing that has ended. So what am I going to do first? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some papers to start off with, which I'm going to use in this box. And then I'm just going to go through the process of creating something. So, and I'm really hoping that more of you are going to come online and chat like we used to on Facebook groups. That would be really nice. So I've got my deli paper here. So those in America, you call this deli paper. Over here in the UK, we call this baking paper. It's white, it's see-through, and you use it to line your cake tins with. Now in America, you have a version that's waxed and you have a version that isn't waxed. This is non-waxed, and actually I prefer the non-waxed variety. And it is looking very, very white. You can't almost see it, can you? But this is lovely to create your own papers, and realistically, part of doing a mixed media piece is to start with, hello Sif, I'm so glad you've managed to find us. Well done you. Part of creating a mixed media piece is to, first of all, construct all the elements, and then you get in there and play. So it's slightly different from an art journal piece. When you're working in a book, you're creating all the layers. This, we're going to create all the elements that are going to lead up to that. So I was having a think about this thing called grief, and having a think about what colours that might be for me. And obviously for some people, oh, is Theron there? I didn't see her. Was that her that just came on? For me, grief is all about blues, dark purples, things like that. And for some people, it's going to be different colours, but that's what it is for me. So I've got some paints here, and I've got my paper. And what I'm going to do to start off with is just randomly put some paint on here. I'm not really going to think about it at all, because I don't know yet what I'm going to do with it. I know that I want it, and I know that I want to use it as a lining paper. But I'm just using blues and purples, look, just to put it on there. This is so odd not being able to see your talking. What else should we use? Right, let's get that in there. So I'm just using my finger. And the great thing about using deli paper as a sort of backing is, because it's see-through, you can kind of just create a bit of a mess first, which is what I'm doing. And actually, to be really honest with you, deli paper is normally what I use if I'm doing big pieces of artwork. It's actually what I use to clean my brush off with, and I save all of those bits of paper, and then I use them in my work. So I'm just now going to get a brush in here. Look, it looks like I'm creating a right mess, but I promise you this is going to add so much colour to our piece. So you can see I'm not really caring too much about what I'm doing. So now I'm going to get some of my nice goldens, and I'm going to put a bit there. And use a paintbrush. So just creating some circles on here. like so. If you have a jelly plate, I do have lots, but they're actually all at the barn at the moment. If you have a jelly plate, that can be really good fun. Okay, what else can we do? Okay, I've got some of these pearl effects by Dove Crafts. I love the deli plate as well. So can you all see all right, or is that a bit bright? I might just let's just get that brightness down just a little bit to make it more, you can see me a bit better. There you go. There, you can see a bit better now, I think. Right, these are pearl effects, which are by Dove Craft. Can you see a bit better now? Lovely. Is that better? So these stand up on their own. That's what pearl effects are. Let me just hold it up to the camera. There you go. So these kind of, you can use these as an accent and they will stand up on their own. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use them to just create some more colour in these circles. And again, what we're doing at the moment is we're just creating some of our own backing papers. So like this. And that, you guys are not going to be able to see this, but it's creating like a sort of shine on my paper. Like so. Okay, last thing I want to add on to here, if I can find it, is some ink. Oh, I can't see where I've put my ink. Let me go and get my ink and then I can do it. 1 second. So I knew that would happen. I went to get the ink and I've come back with something else. So the first thing is this ink here. So I'm going to use that now. And just flick that over my page like this. Again, we're just adding texture to this piece of paper at the moment because it's something that I want to use when I'm doing the piece. And these mixed media pieces can be lovely. Hi Marianne, lovely to see you. I'm so glad you've worked out how to use the this forum. Now then this, which I think has the most hysterical name, I found this in a cheap shop, and it's just the thickest paint you ever did see. Let me show you. It's like a mousse, and I really love it. Look at that, it's so thick. I really love the kind of thickness of it, and it's almost like a pastel, I guess. So again, you know, those of you who've been doing my Epiphany course, you'll know that there is a bonus to just letting go. And just allowing the process to unfold and just, you know, playing. Now, is all the colour all right now, my lovelies? Is it too bright? Are you okay? Okay, so I'm just being a little bit careful. What can happen with deli paper is it can become quite, you know, tender towards adding lots and lots to it. Okay, right, final thing, what do I want to add to it now? I think I'm going to add some of this pearlescent paint that I've got. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so you can see me all right. Great. So I'm going to add some of this pearlescent purple over the top of it, like so, and just work that in. Okay, so it looks like we've got a right splodgy mess. Look at all that. I'm going to do one more thing to it, which is I'm going to fold it in half, like that, so that the colours kind of imprint on each other, and then open it up like so. Right, now that looks like we've created a right old mess, doesn't it? But I can assure you that this is going to really help us later on in this process. Now what I thought I'd do is, when I actually do put it together, I probably won't be so bantery, because I just want to be a little bit respectful as to the topic that we're playing with, which is grief and fire. Oh, I'm leaving things, everybody. I'm being told off already. Being told off for leaving things. Yeah. So I just want to be a little bit respectful. It'll be my grief you're getting sad about in a minute. About what we're talking about, and just sort of being a bit mindful to that. So this, let's just, hang on 1 second. I think I just want that to come. Just changing about with the camera, everybody. It really is a bit of a work in process, this. Okay, so there we go. I've got that, and I need that to dry. So I'm going to put that to one side, and we will come back to that in a minute, and it will have dried down and we'll be able to use it. Okay, what else have I got? I want to show you what else I've got. I've got some watercolour paper here. And what I want to do on this is I want to write that quote that we talked about earlier that I think is really lovely. I'm going to do it this way round because I want to actually have it on my box somewhere. So let's write it down. As the sun watched my tears fell to the ground, only to be lifted to the sky. Okay, so I may or may not use the whole of this quote, and you know me, I like kind of colouring in my little loops. So once again, those of you who are just coming on, some of you might be finding me on YouTube. My name's Jolene. I'm a journaling artist, mixed media artist and psychotherapist, and I run a community on Facebook where we are in pursuit of, you know, kind of sharing things with each other that perhaps conversations that don't get had in everyday life. And today we're being a little bit more serious, and we're exploring grief as a process, as a journaling, as a topic that we can journal with. And maybe you guys might have a go too. So I've just kind of done that in a very ordinary way. I've written all my little quote down there. And this pen that I've used is a marker pen. It's waterproof. So whatever I put over the top of it is going to stay. It's not going to all rub. You can see that when I do that, it doesn't rub off. So I'm now going to use these. So these are lovely. These are aquarella watercolours in little tiny bottles, and these are great fun for using on journaling, and especially if you're using with watercolour paper. So I'm just going to put a little bit of pieces down there. And at the moment it looks very black and dark, but I'm going to get some water. And let that bleed over the paper a little bit. And I just want that to be sort of wishy-washy, like so. Okay, so it kind of looks like a cloud, I guess, and that's another thing that's going to need to dry off. That's another element that we can use later on in our little box. Okay, so back to our box, and I've got some more bits and pieces of paper to show you. Those of you who are in the States will be well aware of the joy of adding Citrusolve to National Geographic papers to create these wonderful, wonderful textures, and I absolutely love them. And I certainly want to use those in my work. I've also got some papers. I think that one might be a bit joyous for what we're doing. I quite like this. This is some tissue paper, and what else did I pull out earlier on? I've got some envelopes here, and what else did I pull out? Let's have a look. I've got some people. This was really interesting. I found some Hessian ribbon here, which I thought I might paint on to give a little bit of extra texture. I thought I had another photo that I pulled out, maybe not. Okay, let's work with what we've got rather than looking for even more stuff and making even more mess. Okay, so let's start with this Hessian that I thought was quite fun. I'm going to cut a little piece off, and much as I really like the stars, they don't really fit in with the theme that I'm going for, so I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to use this side, the browner side, and I'm going to use my blue Dilutions paint and some gesso. And again, as I said, for me, grief is the colour of blue, I guess. So I'm predominantly going to use blue. I will put some other colours in there as well, but mainly blue. So I'm going to start with my gesso. And painting on Hessian is actually a really lovely thing. You get such a lovely texture, and you know, you don't have to go out and buy some Hessian ribbon. You could use a bit of sacking. You know, sometimes potatoes come in Hessian. You could use that. Okay. Oh, I wish you guys would talk to me a little bit more this evening. It's a very different experience being on YouTube. It's very different to being on Facebook. I have to say, it's not my greatest thing, so I'm hoping that we will resume normal contact soon. So I'm just playing on this now. So do say hello, I can hear you. Yes, I prefer it to jute. I think Hessian has sort of a warmth to it, doesn't it? Okay, so I've added some blue on that, as you can see. And again, we've got that kind of cloudy feel. I think I just want to add just a little bit more gesso to this, just to pale some of that blue out, like so. Okay, and I'm just going to turn that over and just pad it on this piece of paper here, just to get rid of some of the excess and give it a chance to dry. And the other thing that what it does is, if you turn it over and pad it and just give it a bit of a stroke, you declot the holes. Hessian effie blah blah, it totally is. So you declot the holes, and what you end up with is, you know, kind of dyed Hessian, rather than, if you've got too much of it, it clogs up the holes, which is less attractive, I think. Okay, so let's put that to one side now. I've got lots and lots of bits and pieces drying. Like I say, it is at this stage, when you're doing a mixed media piece, it's about gathering everything that you need first. All right? I'm so glad some of you are chatting to me. There's loads of you online. I can see you all there. In fact, I can see you much better on YouTube, strangely, than I can on Facebook. So I know you're there. Do chat. Do let me know you're around. Okay, so let's put these bits down to dry as well. They're on the floor all around me. That's good. Mark's going to love that. Right. What else have we got? We've got these envelopes. I love this brown paper. I love all these marks that are on it. Actually, this is really interesting. Look at this with these numbers. That will be brilliant. So let's grab a bit of that, I think. These bits and pieces of paper, by the way, all came from a junk box that was sent me, a bit of Happy Mail that had a load of envelopes in it, which is lovely. So I do like receiving that. And I'm going to add, I think, to this one, some white. Everybody know what Happy Mail is? So just putting some white. What's the box thing? This, Sarah? This came with just some stationery in it, I think. Just had a bit of stationery in it as a gift somebody bought me one Christmas. You know these kind of junky things that you buy for people for Christmas that nobody ever uses? It was one of those. So this I'm going to add some white to, and then I want to get a little bit more texture into there, a little bit more pattern. So whoop, that's a massive bit of blue paint. We don't need all that. Scoop some back in. Right, so what I'm going to do is find a pen lid. Let's use one of my Posca pen lids and just dip this in here. Is it Schrottwichting? I don't know. So I'm just using my pen lid, and that's the great thing about journaling, is starting to understand that you don't have to have, I mean, this is my passion, you don't have to have all the expensive gifts and gadgets to be able to do this. Okay, now I'm going to move over onto this. Is some gold paint. This is a lovely thick gold paint, and I'm just going to get my little finger and blob that inside these blue blobs. So I'm really building up for myself. I mean, I guess the skill that I wanted to show you guys this evening is all about also building up your own stock of paper. You're amazed by how clean my things are. Well, let's put it this way, I don't tidy up until I've had a really good clean. Okay, so that's going down there to dry as well. And I think that I am ready to start putting some of this together. I am going to use this spoon that I've just got to hand here, just to put this back in here. That was a little bit too much blue paint for my liking. Right, so, I know what I meant to show you guys. I've got something really lovely here that I also want to use. You are not going to believe how I made these delicious papers, and we will do this on a live one day. Can you see how luscious that is? Look at that, it's just gorgeous. This is just A4 computer paper, and I've sprayed inks all over it, so your normal spray inks, all right? Sprayed them all over, and then what I've done is I've got some olive oil, and I have brushed olive oil into the paper and then let it dry for a week. And you end up with this really thick paper that has sort of soaked up all of that deliciousness. And it's just divine. And I've got in here lots and lots of little bits of scrap from that, which is just perfect for what I want. So I'm going to put that to one side. So I've got loads and loads of bits and pieces. I think let's get going with this. And what I want to do to start off with is I want to reline this box using some of these bits of paper that I've got. So I like this. Ah, yeah, you can do it with oil. You can to make candles, exactly. But if you get all the offcuts, you know, they're beautiful to use. So I want to make sure that I can get these. And I'm not going to sit here and be perfect and make these all exactly fit and match these boxes, because actually I want this to be a bit more mixed media than that. So that's going all right in there, and I'm going to get my gel medium, which is where. See, I get all this stuff out, girls, and then I hide it from myself. There, I dropped you all on the floor. 1 second. Did you all get a headache when I dropped you on the floor? I hope you didn't. Oh. You know, it's funny. I tell you what I'm not enjoying about this YouTube experience at all is the is the lack of community in it. It doesn't feel so close like our community is. So, you know, you guys can help me out. Give me lots of chat, lots of feedback. That always helps. No, it's lovely. Do you know what? It's lovely just to be able to do this and know that I'm talking and somebody's hearing me, because it was quite vile having to record everything and post it. I went through a whole grieving process of my own, I can tell you. Right, let's get this in. So this here, this is one of our first bits of paper that we're putting in. This is one of the National Geographic papers that I'm using. So National Geographic mixed with Citrusol, but you know what? I'm betting that you guys have got all sorts in your house that you can use. And certainly those that have bought ephemera packs from me, you're going to be able to use those, aren't you? There's lots in there. Okay. So that's that box, and I just want to do something else with it, which is that I'm going to get my scissors again. Here they are, and I want to make some little half moons out of these bits of scrap that I've got here from my wax paper that I made. And what I would suggest you do, guys, if those of you who are watching, if you are somebody that commented on the post yesterday on the Facebook page, that you are sort of in a process of grief at the moment, or that you kind of are one of those people that tends to avoid it, maybe you could have a go at making something like this and just staying with the feelings long enough to you know, to let this piece matter. You know, this is part of grief, is that actually our culture, we don't offer ourselves enough time to sit and remember these things that we're letting go of. Now, it's hard to let go of something, I think, and that's why I'm doing this. I'm wanting to, you know, sit and be honest with myself about things. blah, blah, blah. Right, so I've got these little circles now, so I'm going to use those. I'm going to get my mucky fingers out again, and stick these down. Okay, so what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just creating a backdrop, all right? Just playing. Just creating. Not thinking about things too much. So can you see in this little box, we might need some more light now, girlies, look, because it's getting dark. Let's give you some more light. Let's whack that up a bit. There you go, that's a bit better. You can see now inside this little box, can you see where I'm sticking all those little loops? And you know what's brilliant is that when you're saving all these bits of paper, I think Tharan, you said earlier, didn't you, the mad ladies who save paper, when you're saving them all, you never know what you're going to use them for, but they always have this kind of little perfect moment where you can use them. Okay, so there we go. You would be the crazy cat paper lady. Exactly. Okay, so we've got those little circles, and I'm going to get my black pen here. Right, this is a bit tricky for you guys to see over my shoulder, but I'm going to go around these circles just a little bit, just to make them pop out a little bit. God, do you know what? For all those people that are in the UK, is it hot or what at the moment? I'm so hot. I can't tell if I'm menopausal or what's going on. Right, and I'm going to use a bit of this lovely gold paint as well, I think. And I've got some here as well. Okay, so can you see, really start building up some lovely, lovely layers, okay? And it's just about playing. It's just about trusting your instincts and just about playing and not worrying about going wrong. Thanks, Sif. It is nice, isn't it? We're just playing at the moment, just playing and seeing what unfolds. Okay, so I'm going to get... Now, I know I moan at you all about your heat guns and not using them, but I think I am going to use my heat gun just to give these bits of paper a blast, because I really want to use them. And I need to use them when they're dry. That's nearly dry. Now, am I going to have to launch myself again, or did I bring the heat gun with me? I think things with the black pen definitely make stuff stand out. Do you know, I think Mark has hidden my heat gun from me. Oh no, there it is. I found it. I do love to blame him. It would be far easier if everything was his fault. No, not really. Right, let's spread this out a bit. Let's plug my heat gun in. Okay, there's quite a few of you who've just joined online. I'm not sure if you're coming from the earth, from my page, or whether you're coming from YouTube. Hi, Sif. You're here with your 5-year-old grandson. Oh, bless you. Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you for letting us know. So I'm just going to dry this off. Do you know what I've just realised as I'm sitting here doing this? You know those awful things on Facebook when you click on a video and then suddenly you see some woman selling pearls? I think that that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to be looking at videos and suddenly I'm going to pop up. Drying bits of bizarre paper. Right, here's our big one. Let's give this a dry. It's always worth with deli paper turning it over and also drying the back because it helps dry that underside paint that's underneath there. Okay, so that's dry now as well. Okay, so we've got our other textures and bits of paper. So let's see what we can do with these. What I love, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but this paint here has got a lot of plastic in it, and when you dry it with a heat gun it all puffs up. Can you see that? So I can burst it like bubble wrap. Right, so I definitely want to use some of this, so I'm just going to cut that down a little bit so that I've got that to one side, and I'm going to cut this paper down a little bit, this deli paper, and choose a little bit, I think. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this deli paper actually is I want to create a really nice layered element. So I'm going to put my glue. What I want one day is for somebody to record how many times I say I'm gonna. I'm gonna. Okay. Okie doke. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rip off little squares and use these as collage papers. So it's slightly harder for you guys to see tonight, I know, because I'm working in a box. But I hope you'll bear with me, because it is worthwhile having a go at something like this. Just something a little bit different. And again, if you're going to have to go over those papers, then we need to put some more gel medium in. That's what I'm using. As you know, my favourite type of glue. We so need that. Sarah, we so need that. We need bingo cards. That is a definite thing. Bum-ba-da! How many times can I say that? I haven't done it yet tonight, have I? I don't think I have. Okay, here we go. And what's lovely with using this deli paper is that because it is slightly see-through, obviously you get the kind of layers effect. You can see the layers underneath it. All right. Oh, have I? Oh. See, that's disappointing. I thought it was being unusual and different and professional on YouTube. I'm going to zoom right in on this in a minute so that you can all see how utterly luscious this is. It's really, really nice. And I kind of wanted to, I know that grief can be a really difficult process, and I know it's a real struggle to work through it, especially if you're working through it on your own. But I kind of wanted to give more of a kind of ethereal sense of grief, that kind of letting go breath. You know, that's the thing about grief. It's a letting go process, and we forget that we have to let go. You know, we're all going to have to breathe out at some point, and you know, the same is with grief. It's not going to run away. We all have to face it, and we're so frightened of it because we don't deal with it as part of a community. We all deal with it on our own in a little tiny box. I agree. Who wants to be professional if it means being dull? I'm on a bit of a time delay with you guys, so if I don't answer you straight away, just wait with me. Okay, so I'm just going to hold that up. And what I'm hoping is that you can see all those lovely, lovely purpley layers and how that kind of starts to build up. And you get all that lovely texture because it's see-through and it's a bit crinkly and it's not perfect. And let's do another bit in there, I think. Okay, so we've got two areas. I'm just going to trim this bit off a little bit. Let's perhaps trim it off the top. Oh, I've missed a couple of bits, look. You didn't spot that, did you, girlies? I can't be having the missed bits. Let's get this bit down here. If any of you use gel medium, you will know by now how sticky my fingers actually are doing this. So I'm going to go and give them a bit of a wash in a minute. Luckily I've got some water here, so I'm just going to give them a bit of a scrub. I preempted myself by bringing myself some water, and actually as soon as you add water to your gel medium-y fingers, they all start to, look, I'm going to show you, it all starts to peel off. So let's get that off. And in the meantime, everything else will be drying. Right, okay, it's a bit better. So I'm gonna pop these two bits back, but see, look at that. Isn't that lovely? Right, and we can add a little bit more texture to that, I think. I want to add, do I want to put that in there on its own? I might do. So let's add some of these numbers, I think. But I won't, I'll rip this, I think. Oh, I really like that piece with a little bit of red in it, actually. So I'm going to use my credit card now. Try and avoid getting too much messier. Put that in there. Okay, so we're just building it and building it and building it. I think we've got the, you've all got the idea now. I might use a little bit more of this leftover stuff here. Okay, right, let's get this Hessian down now, I think. My table and everything is always covered. Always, always. I don't think there's a moment where my table hasn't got some layer of paint or something on it. Right, so I think what I want to do with this actually is get some black paint. There's some black paint. Just to kind of, A, I want to make this Hessian really stand out, and B, you know, I kind of want to respect a little bit of that darkness of grief. You've lost your table, it's there. Have you lost it under some epiphany moments? That's why I hide my face. Why do I hide my face? I hide my face because if I showed you all my face, you'd be not seeing what I'm doing. So I'm just painting the inside of this box a bit black. Sorry for me. There we go. And I tell you what, the bonus of these cheap acrylics as opposed to the expensive one, the best bonus is they dry so quickly, and especially in this heat that we're having in England at the moment. I surely have paint on it. What, my face? I don't know. I don't think I've got paint on it today. Right, now, while I'm waiting for that to dry, what I'm going to do is get my black Posca pen, if I can find out where on earth I've thrown it. Who saw where I lobbed my Posca? Said no one ever. There it is. Okie doke. Let's clear a bit of space so that you can see what I'm doing, guys. I'm very aware of my capacity to overload my space full of stuff, and then you can't actually see what I'm working on. So let's move all that out the way. Let's try and be professional again. There we go. Look. Da, da, da. Right, so I'm going to get my black Posca pen, and just while I'm waiting for that black pen to dry, I'm just going to go round the edges of this box. And I can also see from here where I've got little bits and pieces that are flapping up that need sticking down. Like so. Do you know what? Tell me what an edding is. That must be something that you guys have. A Posca pen is a paint pen as opposed to a marker pen. Tell me what an edding is. Is an edding a marker pen? Let's just get these little pieces off. Like that. Gosh, you know, it really is so warm in here that everything is just drying so quick, which in one way is brilliant. Let's see if we can get that off, that little flap. Yeah, we can. Yeah, okay, markers. Yeah, okay, two reasons that I don't use marker pens. One is because of the stink. I don't like the toxicity of them. I'm not into wanting to kill myself, and I'm bearing in mind that I'm playing with paint and colour pretty much every day. So that's one reason that I don't use markers, and the other reason is they bleed a lot more. So if you were adding black, this is a cardboard box, and my fantasy is if I was using a black marker, it would probably bleed through the rest of the cardboard, and what I want is something to sit on the surface, and Posca pen will do that. Okay, so I've just gone round that with black, and now what I want to do is inside this box I've got some kind of yellowy areas that I want to get rid of. And I'm going to do that with black pen, and then when we've done that, I am imagining that that black bit that we painted in that big box, that's going to be all dry. So I'm just kind of coming around, and what this will do, this will really help all these lovely bits and layers pop out. And you know, if you can't get right in there, don't worry, because you can always get your black Posca pen out, and that will obviously, you know, do some things. Now listen, my lovelies that are watching, I've got a little bit of a treasury for you. I've got a bit of a treat. I am obviously, by way of doing all of this stuff, I'm in contact with quite a few other art journaling artists, and I'm aware that from next week on the Friday I have my sabbatical in France, and I go away for 4 weeks, and I stay on a campsite, and I have some time to myself, and I will be coming online and I will be talking to you guys now and then, but I won't have the ability to come on live. And so what I've done is I've had a conversation with some of my lovely art journaling friends, some of the people that I really respect, and some people who I've learned a lot from, and they are going to come online and they are going to do some guest lives for you guys. So I really hope that you're going to enjoy what they have to offer. They're all very excited about coming online and meeting all of you, and offering you something alternative to what I offer you. And they'll also be sharing with you their social pages and all that sort of stuff. So if you want to get on with them and sign up and see what they do, that will be brilliant as well. And they're very, very lovely people, and they're very mindful of what we do and why we're on our page, and that it's not just about journaling, that it's also about looking at self and understanding who we are in this big old world and what we've got going on. So I'm really looking forward to sharing you with them just a little bit. Right. So I've got a little bit of touching up to do around this one with my black, but I just want to zoom into this box a little bit and just show you how that's transformed from the beginning. Okay, so it's all a bit sort of spacey and bluey and mysterious and all that sort of stuff. It's looking really, really nice. I'm going to touch up, because what you don't want to do is finish doing the background and not having touched it all up, because you won't be able to get to it later on. So I'm just filling in any little gaps that I can see right away. So I've got a little bit up here. That's a different noise, by the way, everybody. You can't include that noise. That was a different one. That was more of a sort of train going past. Yeah, absolutely do it on a metal box. I mean, I've only used a cardboard box because that's all I had to hand. But if you've got a metal box, go for it. You know, gesso will stick to, not gesso, gel medium will stick to anything. So as long as you make your papers first and then go on in there, you know, it'll be lovely, beautiful. And I'd love to see it when you've finished. Right, okay, so we've got all sorts of different things. I'm really liking these shapes down here, and I actually think I would like one up the top as well. And I think maybe I'm going to have a circular one, actually. Thinking back to that quote that we've got, and you know, again, this is a little bit different because normally my art journaling, my quote comes afterwards, and obviously I've already made my mind up on what quote I'm going to use this time round. So again, that's a bit different. And on the quote that I had, it talks about the sun. So I'm going to perhaps do something here to just sort of represent that sun, like that. And maybe a bit of this bright purple to make a slightly smaller sun. So the fun thing about doing a mixed media piece and doing a little box like this is that you can finally prove to the world why you've been collecting all of these little bits and pieces. And instead of blaming me all the time, you can start going, look what I created out of all that waste. Okay, so that's really nice. I quite like that. Okay, so let's get filling these tiny spaces in. And this is where you can essentially go a little bit wild. I want to show you what I've got. There's a lovely lady who certainly is going to come online and do some work with you. Which sentence is that? Which is Kristen. And Kristen is going to do some work with you. And one of the things that I saw her do a while ago was that she had a little silver spoon and she put some glitter in it. And I really, really liked that idea. And there's a kind of phrase in England which is when we talk about coping with something that's not very nice, which is when we say it leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. And I think that grief does, doesn't it? It leaves a kind of bitter taste in your mouth. And what I want to do is I want to transform that a little bit and try and show that though grief does leave a difficult taste in your mouth, actually it's kind of, it's a respectful taste. You know, it's in respect for what we're letting go of. So I'm going to, again, see, I'm going to get my blue glitter And I'm going to get my enormous diary here. Look at this enormous diary. And I'm going to look for the word respect. And this is brilliant, this diary. It's for slightly blind people, so it's got massive words in it. You know, and, you know, normal diaries, they're dictionaries, sorry, they're so small. Like PQRS, respect. Here it is. And I managed to find that dictionary in my charity shop, which I was very happy about. Right, so I've got my little spoon, and what I need now is my extra special glue. Where's that gone? Where did I put it? I know I had it out. Oh well, we'll use Yoo-hoo. Let's use Yoo-hoo. It'll work just as well. So I'm going to put some in the barrel of this spoon here. Let's bring that into focus. So lots of Yoo-hoo in there. And then I'm going to get my glitter. Put that in that spoon. And I might, I'm just going to use the end of my Posca here just to push this down. I also like, I got this spoon in a really old junk shop, and I quite like the idea that perhaps it belonged to a lovely little old lady. Look at that. Isn't that delicious? Look, I love it. Okay. So I'm going to put that on there. Just gently, I'm just tapping that glitter down so that it definitely sticks. There it is, look. And this is a teeny tiny little spoon. Sweep that glitter to one side before it gets onto everything. In fact, I'm going to tear this bit of paper out. There. Let's tear that away. Right, so where did I put my word? There it is. I'm going to cut that out. And stick a bit of glue on the back of there as well. You're just out of my shot. Let's move you in. So Yoo-hoo I tend to use if I'm sticking you know, elements down that are needing to be a bit more, you know, immediate in sticking. You could stick this down with gel medium. Okay, so there's that. So I've got the word respect written on there. Ooh. There we go. And I'm going to take a little bit of we had this Hessian that we were using earlier, so I'm going to take a couple of strands of that. Just wrap that around, tie that up. See, so you're starting to build up now little things that you can put inside your box. That's the idea with mixed media, is that you slowly start building it up. Here's a sudden surge again of people coming on. If you are coming on and watching, it's absolutely okay. You just sit there and watch. That's absolutely lovely. But if you if you want to say hi, it's always lovely to speak to you and to see where you come from. Maybe you've found me on my Facebook page. Maybe you are coming from the YouTube page. Alright, I'm going to come over here. I've just remembered I bought my blue sari silk ribbon with me. And I think actually I would quite like to have a bit of this on this spoon. So I think I'm going to move that jute up. There we go, that looks better. Quite like, I prefer that with the blue than I do with the jute. I might take the jute off. And of course, it'll probably be as fiddly as anything. Nope, I can just do that with my knife. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's one thing that I'm going to stick. Now, what else did I get? Let's get my little box of treasures out. Let's see what else I've got. We can put things away as we use them. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? So, what else have I got in here? Oh, I bought this bottle. I'm not sure it's going to fit. It might fit in there. I don't know if any of you know, there's a concept from Egypt that the Egyptians, they wear a bottle, a flask around their neck of their tears, and their theory is when the tears run out, then the grief has run out, which I really like as a concept, so I thought about perhaps using that, so I'll keep that out. What else have I got in here? I've got an old sewing wheel, that's knitting yarn thing that's run out. Oh, the boys are back. I've got some sea glass. For me, sea glass is really representing grief. The fact that it goes into the sea as a whole thing and has to break up in order to come out to these beautiful little pieces. I love those. I've got some little pieces of rust here. I thought that's, you know, sort of something that's broken. What else have I got? Some more bits of pottery and sea glass. We'll keep those out. I've got lots and lots of old pieces of my watercolour paper here. I've got some little gold pieces from jewellery, but I actually thought they looked like coins. You know, the idea of putting coins in somebody's mouth when they pass away as their money for the ferrymen to take them over the river. I thought they were quite fun. Okay, let's start filling one out, I think, because I want to sort of get on and show you what we're doing. So here's our box. Okay, if you've just joined me, there's a sudden surge again of people joining me. We're doing a mixed media journal piece today about grief. This is just an ordinary box, a cardboard box that I found, and I've just filled it in. I've made my own backing papers and filled it in and put bits of pieces in there. And I'm now going to start trying to sort of build something out of all of this. So I love this spoon. I love it. And I need to find a place where it will go. Actually, it might sit on the top, mightn't it? Let's bring you into the middle. It might sit on the top like that. I love having this bottle, and I think what I might do is get a piece of this deli paper. Take that off. And what I might do is on here, just use my pen, and I'm just going to go quiet for a couple of minutes because I just want to write something about grief. Okay, so what I've written is grief and loss represented by my heartache and tears, a longing that things once present would return, and yet the space. So I'm going to roll that up. Like so. Let's see, we might have to make it a little bit smaller. Thanks, sweetheart. Right. So the interesting thing now is going to be trying to get it into the space. So let's spend a little bit more time, I think. Roll that up, pop that in. And the cork, where's the cork gone? Let's pop that into there. And that we can stick. Use my glue gun now, my kind of industrial glue gun. Can put that on there like so. Okay. What shall we do now? I think I want to use this, but I want it to kind of be a bit of a stand for some other things. So I'm going to put that. Let's have a think. Let's get a piece of this yarn again. Actually, I'll tell you what else I've got over here. I've got some. This is mulberry bark. If you're in the UK, a company called Steph Francis, they sell this beautiful space-dyed mulberry bark. It's absolutely beautiful. Let me open it up and show you. Look at that. It's just gorgeous, and it sort of stretches out. It's lovely. It's like a sea. Now that gives me an idea. Okay, I've got an idea now. How about I'm going to rip that like so. Now I might need a flat one end to be flat. I'm thinking I might create an ocean. So let's put some glue. Again, glue gun. If you've got a glue gun, that's really what you need for this process. I'm using my scissors to push this in because obviously the glue is very, very hot, and I would prefer not to burn myself today. So I'm trying to give you guys as much visual input as possible, and at the same time I need to tilt this box to get these bits in. Okay, let me show you that. Let's have a look if you can see. There you go. So just that kind of blue kind of swash, and we're going to let that sort of trickle down a bit like the waves, sort of falling down a little bit. And I'm going to construct a boat out of my sea glass and bits and pieces, I think, here. So, first thing I'm going to need is a mast. Mark?
Yeah.
We do not like YouTube as a platform. No, it's much nicer be going via Facebook groups, much nicer. Don't we, girls?
Yeah, but that doesn't work.
It doesn't work at the moment, but it will. We have to have faith. Okay, so there's my little boat coming on there. And you know what? You guys are all going to have your own, you know, you don't have to do this about grief. I'm doing this about grief today because I want to kind of respect where you guys were talking about yesterday and your, you know, your honesty and what you were feeding back. You can do it about anything. But I'm sort of thinking about each of these elements and what they could represent. Okay, so I need a white bit now to be my sails, or maybe these bits of pottery could be the sails actually. I am absolutely certain that you guys are going to have tons and tons of bits and pieces that you can use. Okay, so I just want to kind of zoom in on there. Can you see I've got my little boat riding the waves? So the last bit we've got is this little area down here. And our spoon. Definitely want to use that spoon somehow. So let's have a look what I've got over here. Actually, we've got our statement, haven't we? What I might do, cut that right down. And that's obviously going to be too big to fit in there, but I might just use a little bit of it. So somebody just typed something up there. I don't know what you typed up, my lovely. You need to type it again for me. I might write it. Do you know what? I think what I'm going to do, save, keep trying to hassle around. I'm going to write my statement up on a much smaller piece of paper that I can actually fit in there. I really want to get that quote in there. Ah! Okay, that's better. So, sudden surge of people coming on. I'm really sorry that I'm coming via this platform for you. It's not my ideal platform by any means. And we've stayed with it, haven't we, girlies? We've stayed with it. It's unfortunate that Facebook have done a recent update, which means that I can't use my camera with groups. I can use it with pages, but not with groups. So I'm just spritzing this again. I can dry this off very easily with another piece of paper and get my heat gun out. You absolutely could, Marianne. I could have cut it up. That would be a good idea. I just felt that I kind of wanted to be able to see it in there, actually. That's my own personal sort of wish, is that I want to be able to look at this and be able to see it. So I'm just going to stick this in. Like so. Still want to be able to see some of those purple thingies. I may bring them back out again later on. You know me, cover it all up. And the thing is, I can still see them. I don't know whether you can. They're still down there. And then my quote is here. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to do on camera before I go, and as you know, I like to sort of finish these pieces off quietly and sort of get them done and take some pictures of you. But the last thing I want to do is I want to put this spoon on, and I think I want the spoon upwards because I've got this kind of space here, that's got nothing in it. So I'm thinking I could actually rest it down like that, down behind the bottle, which would be great. So let's put some glue gun on that. Slip that down, stick that in. There we go. So it's all coming together, and you can see that you slowly start building things up, and you slowly start putting bits and pieces in there, and you work with it and you work with it. I think I'm not liking that in there anymore, so I'm going to take that out. So I'm going to have some space here to do something else with, which I'll play with out of your shot until I get it finished. It's been really great to come on. I'm glad that I've managed to speak to some of you. This is the forum that we're going to use for a little while until Facebook manages to sort itself out. It's been really lovely doing a live for you. If you have found me on YouTube and you haven't heard of me before, I shall stick the link to my page below on Facebook. We've got a lovely community where we all kind of hang out and talk about things that perhaps you wouldn't talk about every day. But it's been lovely to see you all. It's been lovely to chat. And, you know, make a little box of your own and let me see how you get on with it. And I'm going to finish this one out of eyesight and take some pictures of it and let you know. All right, my lovelies, it's been great fun and I shall see you all soon. Much love.